NALC Civility and Respect Pledge. And the wording of it is as follows. Bude-Stratton Town Council has signed the NALC Civility and Respect Pledge. Civility and respect should be at the heart of public life, and good governance is fundamental to ensure an effective and well-functioning democracy at all levels. The intimidation, abuse, bullying and harassment of councillors, clerks and council staff in person or online is unacceptable, whether by councillors, clerks, council staff or public members. Any person adjudged by the chair of the meeting to have breached this rule may be asked to apologise, withdraw their statement and or leave the meeting. That's where that statement finishes. We now move to the public participation part of the agenda, which is right at the very start. So members of the public are invited to comment on matters within the parish. And so therefore I shall go around and ask people if they want to say something at this point. Do you want to say something?
But Sarah will probably go first.
Okay, Sarah.
So my name is Sarah Freeman. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Bude Area Community Jury on Climate Change. Following the open letter that we sent to the council last month, I'd like to confirm tonight that the jury is willing to give the council what assistance we can as you prepare your response to our recommendations. I would also like an update on when we can expect the council's response, as the previous deadline was in July.
Okay, thank you very much. I can respond to that in part, possibly a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your offer. We're in an unusual position in which we have quite a few staff unwell at the moment, and that has kind of slowed us down a little bit going through July and August. But I can assure you that we will be looking at this in September, and I'm sure we'll certainly reach out to you in terms of advice.
Are you happy with contacting us?
Yes, the council does have.
Partnership.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are.
Okay.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, so the only thing I wanted to, I didn't realise I was going to be here, but to add to that is that alongside the recommendations, there was a list of 10 asks. Some of that is really low-hanging fruit. I would suggest perhaps the council doesn't need to tackle the whole thing all in one go, the 29 recommendations and the 10 asks, but start with some of the real tick box, easy to arrange stuff. So for example, support the campaign that our sustainable tourism team is running to have a bodyboard amnesty this summer. Unfortunately, it's now the 1st of August, but a letter from the council would be a really easy win for us. There's a disposable barbecue campaign as well. Those are the sorts of things that you could maybe consider just knocking off the list rather than tackling the whole thing in one go. It's just a thought.
Thank you. That may well help us, but not a bad idea. Yes.
I'm just trying to find out about the neighbourhood plan. As the ex-councillor Good, was she still going to stay on as chairwoman or chairperson of that particular body, or has she resigned from that as well? I believe I've asked.
You asked me last time, and I don't have any update for you on that. The only thing I can add, of course, is there's all sorts of complications with neighbourhood plans potentially as of the actions of central government last week, but that does not stop us from being committed to pursuing reviewing the neighbourhood plan. And again, can I say to you, I think we're in a circumstance where we will be looking at that in September. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My comments are generally relating to item 5 about the policing. It relates to police and crime commissioners. I've always, as you probably know, I was a serving police officer from April 1964 until October 1996. And I've always opposed the creation of police and crime commissioners. If you take into the fact that it's a paid post, she will have a salary, I have no idea where that is. She also has a chief executive and then various other members of staff. Whether she has an official card to use, I have no idea, but she may well have an official card to use, or in fact, she may well be getting an allowance for mileage. And of course, she has a separate premise to the chief constable. If you add that up, roughly I would think it must be close to £500,000. And the concept of police and crime commissioners came about a number of years ago, probably 10 years ago, when a corrupt chief officer of police was not paying attention to what was going on in his force. And the government at that time had a knee-jerk reaction and created these people. I did vote. I mean, I do exercise my vote when we voted a while ago. And I voted, all due respect to the Liberal Democrats. I voted for the Liberal Democrats because I thought it would be less likely that one of them would get in than not. But when I went to vote, I made a comment to the people who were about to give me my voting paper, and I said I don't agree with any of this. And to my surprise, one of the people there, as part of the election process, said, neither do I. So I have great respect, obviously, for as a serving officer here. I have absolute respect for them. I don't know how they do their job, the way that life is. But and because I don't expect the town council to do anything about this, I just not let the councillors and the member of the public know what a waste of money that position is.
Thank you very much. Of course, as you quite rightly say, it's outside the purview of this council to make any effect in that, and of course, as you quite rightly understand, you could not expect the police officer present to comment on any of that because we're essentially talking about her employer, so she can't comment at all on it. But thanks for contributing that. Would you like to say something? Yep.
Thank you. Leslie Woods. I'm going to scribble a few notes. I hope I can read them myself. I've been asked to assure you that these words are my own. I've not been influenced by anyone else. I'd like to know when you are going to replace the fountain in the triangle. The last one, which was broken by the tree falling over it, was ugly, so perhaps a marble one would be an improvement. This is an important historical area where the inhabitants of Bude used to collect their water. The way things are going, we might have to do that again. As you don't seem to be going ahead with the enhancement scheme for the triangle, for which you offered thousands of pounds, and which could have put people before vehicles, you should get on with the fountain replacement. Fountains bring great joy to children and to some adults like me. Don't say you can't afford it. You have bought a crumbling money pit in Stratton and given away the council taxpayers' money to different organisations to make yourselves look good. You wouldn't be so keen if it was your own money. Local council taxpayers deserve to have the taxes they entrust you spent on things that they can all enjoy, and the maintenance of the buildings that they collectively own. Lastly, you'll gather here, what benefits has the town team achieved for us to date?
Okay, thank you
Do
very
you know
much.
anything about the fountain?
I am not in a position to answer that question. Clark, is there anything you can say about that? It's not on the agenda as far as I know.
I can't say anything substantive about
Yeah.
the fountain at this stage.
Well, I've just reminded you.
Yeah, I'm really appreciative of that,
Thank you.
and you might hear a little bit about the town team later in the meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Jennings?
I got here the printout from what was spent on the place up in Stratton till last March. How much has been spent over the last 4 months up there, please?
Well, I don't have those figures at my, oh, hang on, Mike.
No, we've actually had a rebate of water rates, so nothing.
Nothing.
So we've had nothing, spent nothing.
What, in the last 4 months?
No.
Not one penny.
No.
Right.
Okay,
Sorry, one other question.
okay.
This business of the cycle thing on the Strand, is the council for it?
Can you be more specific, sir?
Or aren't they gonna put a crossing where the globe is and that, so that the cyclists can get across the road?
Again, I defer to the town clerk.
It's public consultation.
It's a public consultation, so it's not something that's coming strictly to planning committee. It's open to everyone to comment.
So at present, it's a public consultation, and it has not come to us, not come to our planning committee to have any comment, or the council to have any comment at present.
Well, surely it's in the middle of view, the council would like to know what else going on.
I would not disagree with you at all in those circumstances, but we have to wait until we are approached, probably following consultation. Right. So,
Oh, good evening there. I think I'll leave my comments till column 3, but one thing I'd like to point out, does everybody here realise that Stratton is the mother town to Bude?
Yes.
They do.
yes.
So why is there things neglected at Stratton and things put forward at Bude?
Well, that's a bit of a general question. I probably haven't got time to go into specifics, except to say that we represent Bude-Stratton as a whole town. We do try to spread out the good things that we do to that area. I would agree with you that there are many things that need to be done in both Bude and Stratton, and there's still lots to be done. That's the position at the moment. But Councillor O'Sullivan?
Since my unopposed election for the Bude-Stratton ward, I've got the approval of council. We're now holding meet council sessions at the King's Arms. We're alternating between Bude and Stratton. We also, the town council was represented at Holsworthy Stratton show last year, as you know, to make sure that we respect that aspect of our culture as well. And there was one other thing I was going to mention. I forgot what it was, but Stratton is not being forgotten.
Can I ask?
Well, of course, yes, and of course there is the issue that Mr. Jennings has
But I
raised.
really appreciated it when the council took over the store in Stratton.
Yeah.
Because it was up for sale, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I think that family that runs it have been a great help to me and my wife, who suffers of Parkinson's, in the recession and the
Yes.
other issues and so forth. They are a brilliant family, and that shop is like a goldmine for us, really. It's excellent.
I would agree 100% with those sentiments. Yeah.
Sorry,
yes, sir.
one other thing I nearly forgot was when the Bude Area Partnership was reorganised, I did try to get it renamed to instead of North Cornwall, I did try to get it renamed to Stratton and Lesnews, in recognition of Stratton as the, as you say, mother town, not only Stratton, this area, but the wider 100 of Stratton. But unfortunately, that wasn't successful. But that was,
Well, I've spoken to several estate agents in the area, and they always put Stratton Village. Well, the thing is that it should be Stratton and Bude Council, not Bude and Stratton Council, because Stratton is the mother town. It was here way before Bude was here. This was called Bede Haven because it was where the people of Stratton used to come down to swim years ago.
yeah, I'm not sure what the process of getting the council renamed from Bude Stratton to Stratton Bude is, but I'll look into it for example.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor?
It may be a popular story, but my late father told me that there was a point in history when it was Stratton Bude Council, And when it became Bude-Stratton Council, there was considerable unrest for a significant period of time. But those events have somewhat settled down.
One other thing I'd very much like to mention is item 13. We're hoping to approve a letter of support to Stratton Street Community Hub to apply for some money, which will hopefully also improve some things that are happening, hopefully in Stratton. So that's where we are. Would you like to say something, Will?
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll say something, yeah. I'd like to refer back to last month's meeting regarding the ward leases.
Yeah.
It was mentioned at the time that I think a notice of motion if there was 6 signatures.
Yeah.
I believe there is 6 signatures.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Peter McCoy isn't here today, so how does that work now?
I can confirm to you that is so.
Okay.
There was not time when those signatures came in to get it onto this agenda. So but I can absolutely guarantee you it will be on September's agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. Did you want to say anything, sir, at all? Okay, right. That then takes us to item 1 of the agenda, to receive apologies and accept the reasons for any non-attendance.
So apologies from Councillor Brown for personal reasons, Councillor Alsbury Rockies for personal reasons, Councillor Moores for work reasons, Councillor Roy for personal reasons, and Councillor Chopin, who doesn't need to give reasons because she's not a town councillor.
Okay. Item number 2, to receive any declarations of interest on items on the agenda and agree any dispensations. Are there any declarations of interest? And we've had no request for dispensations, therefore. Okay, item 3, to receive and adopt the decision notice of a code of conduct complaint to Mr. J. Bennett versus the Councillor S. Haynes. So I'll simply read this out. This code of conduct refers to the events and my actions ultimately leading to us as a council resolving to suspend our last council meeting. The complainant alleged that, as he was stopped speaking at a meeting of the council by me in my role as council and chair, I therefore breached the code of conduct. I'm pleased to say that the complaint has been rejected because, to quote, the complaint does not disclose a breach of conduct. At this point, all we need to do is know that. Any comments? Yes, sir.
Why do we need to note it?
You don't? You don't?
Well, I suppose my question really is, why is it on the agenda?
We made a decision to put it on the agenda because in the past, code of complaints had been put on the agenda. It was an outcome of a code of complaints, and so we thought we'd put it on.
No, I think, to be fair, to be honest about this, the only decision notices have been considered, not where complaints have been rejected, or indeed where the decision has been no breach. They are not on the agenda. This one was a rejection, and I just surprised to see that it's on the.
Well, Councillor Sutherland, simply in the spirit of transparency and openness, I was open to this being put on the agenda and shared with councillors. Okay. Okay.
I do have concerns around what I just concerned about the whole background to it. So.
I understand. Okay.
Well, am I allowed to speak because my name is mentioned in column 3?
I'm afraid that is, according to our standard orders, at my discretion. Being as we have now dealt with this as a council, I am not going to allow you that discretion.
Well, I've not had an apology from you for your behaviour.
Okay. We need to move on that. Thank you.
Move on that? Why don't you let me speak? That's against my human rights, free speech and free expression. Whether you disagree with my speech or my expression, you should accept it. And any other mayor would have done that.
Okay.
I have been to a lot of meetings with the council when they were running the castle before they came here. So why did you stop me from speaking, and why did you ask me to leave?
This matter has been dealt with under the Code of Complaint Judgment, and I'm not going to go into it any further. I am now answering your question, but this is the point at which I stop answering your question.
Do you know the code of conduct?
As chair, I have to say to you that it is within my right to allow or not allow contributions from the public outside of the participation. And in these circumstances, when you have been provided with a detailed response through the Code of Complaint process, I see nothing useful in hearing any more. This complaint has been rejected. There is no way to review.
By who?
Okay, so we are now moving on to item 4.
No freedom of speech or expression.
I would ask you to be.
And don't look at me like that.
I would ask you to be quiet.
I think everybody's feeling uncomfortable.
I've lived here for 77 years and I've been to loads of council meetings and never been treated like this. He should step down as the mayor.
Okay, I need
He's
to
not
say,
fit for purpose.
I need to say, ask you again to please stop talking so that we can
It's
continue.
disgraceful you are.
Right, we now move on to the Mayor's report. Last month, I attended Bude Annual Friends Awareness Day on Saturday the 13th as Mayor. Here, I discovered that many individuals and small groups who give huge amounts of their personal time and resources to look after our many threatened species of both wild animals and domestic pets, and the things they did. One of the most concerning things I learned was how the difficulties faced by people through our cost of living crisis has resulted in a significant rise in the number of family pets needing rehousing. I also learned about the campaign to end animal experimentation.
Article 10.
Excuse me, could you please stop talking while I'm talking? Experimentation as part of medical. I also learned about the campaign to end animal experimentation as part of medical research, and how there was now increasing evidence that some use of animals in such research can result in false outcomes. Whilst at this event, I was lucky to talk to our new MP, Ben Maguire, and I was able to reinforce an invitation to our council and to discuss some of the issues that we face as a town. I'm happy to say that he will be supporting our Summer of Wellbeing event supported by the STC in conjunction with our Community Area Partnership, the NHS and Cornwall Council, and that is on this Saturday, and he will also be visiting us as a council next week. I also attended our Bude Heritage Day on Sunday, 21st of August, an event that demonstrated the excellent organisation of Mark, one of our officers, our castle team, and I wish to thank them all and all staff who supported this important event. Again, I was able to talk to many different community-based groups who give their time and labour to preserving and enhancing Bude-Stratton culture. It was an incredibly enjoyable day, attended by many local people and visitors, and I hope that we can continue to build on its success. Last Saturday, I attended Bude Pride Day alongside our Deputy Mayor, and we were both honoured to walk at the head of the parade through our streets. I also said a few words at the official start of the event, which included, among other things, the sentiments that it was a really positive experience to see how far we as a society have come, but also an understanding of how far we still have to go. This was again a really successful event, attracting many people from many different ages and backgrounds. Apart from my public duties, I have also attended a town team meeting, more of that later, and I also met with representatives of our local armed forces groups, where we explored how we could work together to honour the Armed Forces Covenant, the STC, signed last year, how the council can support the organisation of Remembrance Day, Armistice Day, and potentially other days that commemorate historical military events. We explored how we can work together to highlight the difficult circumstances faced by veterans in our society, and we discussed how we could promote actions that support them. Finally, I continue to work closely with our acting clerk as we manage this challenging operational time due to the medical absences of some of our most senior officers. I should like to thank Ian and all our staff for stepping up so brilliantly. And I'd like to pass on the best wishes of all of us to those of our staff who are unwell, and our dear wishes that they have a quick and effective recovery. And that is my report. Councillor, any questions? Yes, yes.
Just one, given that the Bude-Stratton show has been mentioned, will you be attending, it is 3 weeks today, will you be attending on behalf of Bude-Stratton Council?
When is it?
3 weeks today, 22nd of August.
22nd of August. Have a quick look. I don't think. It would be the first time that I attended Holsbury show, but let's have a quick 22nd of August. Yes. That Thursday, 22nd of August starts? Yes, that's it. That is it.
How many of you was there last time, Tom?
3 of us.
3, yeah.
I presume the stand has been booked.
If it hasn't, it will be.
We were invited by Holsbury Town Council last year to set up shop alongside them. We were a little bit cast out into the wilderness last year.
So maybe we should coordinate with Holsbury.
I think it would be worthwhile because I fear we may be cast into the wilderness yet again.
Although it's quite nice down by the collecting.
Oh, very, you know, there's an argument for being out on a limb.
Just when you vote from the square.
Okay, right. So as the mayor report.
Also they celebrated.
Okay, so moving on to item 5. To note any reports from Cornwall councillors. We are very lucky to have a Cornwall councillor here.
To go that far, but thank you, sir. To firstly congratulate you on your appointment. Thank you. Hopefully we can work together along with Peter and Vicky.
Yes.
Just to give you an update with regards to my work load at the moment in terms of local stuff. In Stratton, we've got issues with parking. Even though we've got a free car park there, people are using the local streets, especially the narrow ones round by the shop that you refer to, and also Union Hill. I'm working with the highways and our police team to try and see what we can do, because there isn't any traffic borders in that area of Union Hill, and people are concerned for emergency services getting through, and also children using the hall there for their scouts, etc. So that's something I'm working on.
It can be horrendous there in the summertime.
Well, because it's cut through, isn't it?
And that awful situation where it's partially one way.
Yeah,
it isn't.
Yes. Yeah. For people that don't know the street, it could be dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, it's dangerous, so it could be. What I've been up to for council during July, I attended the Adult and Social Care Overview and Scrutiny Committee, which I'm a member of. We looked at the work programme for forthcoming year, and it was discussed in great detail, and we're waiting before we actually formulate what we're going to do, waiting for members and officers to formulate what we actually spoke about on that day. The other item that came up was the oral health and water fluoridation of the water supply, which obviously has hit the national media. Not sure what your thoughts are on that, but we had a presentation that covered all bits, aspects of oral health and water fluoridation and the extent. And this is not only England, but across the whole worldwide, to see what they're up to. With regards to the benefits and general health, and also the return of the investment on oral health for the children, which is the main aspect of what brought this to everybody's attention. There's a great deal of debate following the presentation, the media speculation with regards to any adverse health issues that may come about with the introduction of fluoridation of the main water. There were pluses and minuses that came out of the debate. I'll give you a copy of this if you wish. Yes, pluses and minuses that came out of the debate, young versus old, in terms of what it could affect. There's people saying that it can affect your bone structure, it could become cancerous, and IQ issues as well. So with that in mind, I actually mentioned, sorry, that many of the areas in the rural parts of Cornwall, especially this part, North Cornwall, there's a lot of private water supplies, boreholes, etc.
Yeah.
We said, if you're going to fluoridate everywhere else, what are you going to do with the families that live in the rural locations? And they said, oh, we can give them some tablets. So how are you going to do that? They hadn't really thought about that side of things. All they're looking at is the main areas that have got mains water supply. So due to the lack of direction, the presentation, we asked for further evidence to be presented from the committee at a further meeting for us to further consider the issues and take into account the comments and questions that were raised during that meeting. Another one was the dentistry. We had an update from the Deputy Director of NHS Integrated Care Board. During the discussions, various points were raised, mainly about access to NHS dentistry across Cornwall, not only in the main towns, but in the deprived areas and rural areas in particular. So the ICB are looking into different ways of dentistry service, how they're provided across Cornwall, with regards to the national tariff, i.e. how much dentists get paid for their contracts. So we're asking them to go back to Central Government and ask for some more dodge basically to balance the books for these people, so we can actually encourage them back into the NHS system. One thing they are actually doing is providing a dental van which operates in rural locations to try and address some of the inequalities for all members of the community, and in particular rural areas. Also attended a SACRA meeting on the 11th, which is the Standing Advisory Council for Religious Education. Most of the discussion was around budgets, as you can imagine. Trying to work with all schools to promote religious education, whatever form of religion, to fit in with the agreed RE curriculum, which is strong and also follows the local agreed syllabus of the schools. Ofsted came out with a report into religious education in schools. Following that report and ensuing discussion, the following points were raised. Leaders in the school were not promoting religious education. There was conflict between preparing for exams and teaching RE. Also, not enough specialist teachers teaching RE. Recruiting such specialists is a challenge, which is the same in any education at the moment, I'm afraid. And for my sins and Peters and Nikki, we attended full council on the 16th. I won't go into much detail, but just otherwise we get into political debates and waste every time. But the main points were raised both by the chairman and the leader of council to congratulate the two current members of Cornwall Council who were duly elected members in the last general election. Councillor George, that was a previous MP, and
Councillor Kirkham.
Yeah, Jane Kirkham. Yeah, she's a very good councillor and she made a very good MP. Even though she's not the same political persuasion, but she made a good MP.
My experience of her was that she was always good at working with people from all political backgrounds.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, that's why Peter and Nikki and I get on so well. Also, the Cornish Youth Council attended the meeting. They were in attendance for the meeting, but not to witness how meetings should be run. Hopefully, they didn't pick up on the wrong aspects of running a council meeting. But this youth council is getting stronger and stronger, and I believe we may have a couple from youth attending.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah, I think there's maybe.
I know it's very traditionally. I know a little bit about this because my daughter was a youth parliament member for North Cornwall at one point a long time ago, and so she was part of that, an earlier version of that, and it is really difficult in North Cornwall
to get yourself elected or to organise it, because you need to be elected from lots of different schools.
Yeah.
And therefore you need a helpful parent to drive you around town to town to town, and that's a particular problem about our constituency. And so if we had two, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, well, I'll actually take that back as an issue that you were concerned about. Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, the chairman's charity this year is Cornwall Air Ambulance. Other matters we're discussing was the climate emergency. Also, we were elected to the finalists in the Working Together category of the Soldering On Awards in 2024, which celebrated the work done around the armed forces, as you mentioned earlier, Mr. Laird. Other matters were waste contract bins, the rollout of those, environmental effects on farming, plant-based menus, climate emergency, Cornwall Airport, Newquay. Again, that's been very prickly subject in the media, but you'll be able to see a press release on the council website this evening, and that will give you how things are moving on.
Right.
It's not a definite, it's not signed off completely, but it will give you some idea of what's actually happening there. Obviously, the other thing was just recommendations from Cabinet. Now, I recommend that if you're interested in any aspects of Cornwall Council's work, you should visit the council website and look at the full council, because there's so much detail there that may answer some of your questions. I didn't want to go through it and take up all your time this evening, but that's it for me. Apart from, just to let you know that when we're talking about police colleagues here, Peter and I went to our first police liaison meeting, which is representation of the CAP in this area, which is myself, Nicky, Peter, and Barry Jordan, who's the chairman of the CAP for this area. We had a great discussion. There's a lot of positives coming out of it. Nina's been informed because she was unable to attend that meeting, but she's been brought up to date. It looks very positive that we've got this liaison now, rather than pointing fingers at each other saying, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? So I think we can work very well together. So that was the initial one, and we're hoping to have more very soon. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. If not, I'll do it.
I was only going to mention something that the youth council will actually be there on Saturday if you're interested.
Councillor Sullivan?
As the Common Councillor representing the town of Stratton, will you be attending the Hosling Stratton show?
I shall. I've made a 20-second August. Yeah.
Who is the person to get hold of who is actually in charge of council housing in Cornwall? Because everywhere I go, all I get is bloody flogged off and doing it wrong.
Yeah, well, that's one of my acts to drive with the council, because I set up the North Cornwall Community Land Trust, which we're trying to introduce social housing rather than always market rentable housing, all that sort of thing. But the guy who wants to aim your vengeance or whatever, grievance or any comments, positive comments as well as negative, is Oliver Monk. Councillor Oliver Monk, he's the cabinet member.
I mean, I've tried, every time you ring call, they won't even tell me who's the main man about it. I couldn't get a name.
Yes, it's Councillor Monk.
I've been walking out past empty council houses for the last 7 months.
Yeah. Well, they're actually doing an audit on that and trying to find out, where these houses are.
Well, just that we're like, they've got,
If I give you my...
I've been dealing with Peter about it, but obviously you're in there.
Well, it's Peter's division, but I'll speak to Councillor Monk is on leave at the moment.
No, but typical, isn't it?
No. But give me a bell, give me the address, and I'll speak with Peter as well.
Yeah, he's got most of the problem.
Was he?
What annoys me is Cornwall Council just don't want to know. I tried, I went round the Bude-Stratton Post a couple of weeks back and said, can you find out a bit about it? Well, they haven't done it. And I tried to get on Radio Corporal to get me go to that Taylor woman, but I was blocked. So that wasn't really enough.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jennings. Thank you very much, Councillor.
I'll speak with these,
I did hear, not officially, that one of the ones down at Ferries Avenue in that area, one of the ones that's been empty for a while, is being turned around at the moment, but that was unofficially.
Well, they've been there once, but I mean, I'm not necessarily.
And that there is meant to be somebody moving in very soon, but that's totally unofficial.
Yeah, it's still been there, she died back off.
Yeah, unfortunately,
It's always there, it's still empty.
I'm not trying to make an excuse for council, but sometimes these properties are in such bad condition, we've got to bring them up to a certain level for health and safety reasons before we can let them out.
Yeah.
Well, they only just cleared it out about,
Well, there you
cleared
go.
out about
Probate.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, the people in Bude need homes.
Yes, I'm just saying that there is a lead time to get actually people back in these properties.
And probate,
Exactly
to
6
get
weeks.
probate sorted can take an awful long time.
I know,
Reality
but
is
at the end
probate
of the
is still
day,
just being sorted.
I mean, how can anybody work that cycle?
I know.
Okay, thank
It's
you
the
for that.
system.
We need to move on. Are there any other members of the public who wish to ask questions? Okay, thank you very much, Councillor. We now move on to item 6, to receive an update on policing matters from the Bude Neighbourhood Beat Manager. Welcome, PC Nina.
Hello. Hope I'm not going to get lynched in the background over there. My name's Nina. I've obviously met quite a few of you before. I've seen your faces around the town. I've been at public meetings and so forth. So it's nice to see you all again. I've had a generic update around crime figures, but that's very dull. So I'm going to go in with some good news. We've recently had an advert which has been applied for a new and additional neighbourhood beat manager, which for East Cornwall neighbourhood team sector, and I've won the toss of the coin that they're coming to Bude. So I'm going to have some resilience with the neighbourhood team, which is going to be brilliant. I've only been here a year. I've made some good inroads, built some relationships, knocked some down, but that's part of policing, unfortunately. The overall crime figures are up in comparison to last year. I've just been reliably informed. However, the positive of that is detection rates have superseded those figures. So we're detecting more crimes than we were this time last year, even in the face of crime escalating. That can be a number of things. That can be me pestering people to report things via the correct channels. This could be me getting out there and getting involved in it. I say me and my colleagues. I talk to me, I talk to the Bude team. And we are, we're working really hard. Obviously, drugs are a problem. Drugs are a problem everywhere. I've worked in the police for nearly 21 years, and we're never going to solve that problem. But we can try and manage it, and we are trying to manage it. We've certainly got a better understanding of the drug scene around Bude than we did 12 months ago. We obviously get your regular complaints about cars speeding and so forth and so on. There are things in place for the summer with regards to extra resilience for policing for our evening and nighttime economy around the Bude town centre, up in the dunes. Obviously the issues we have with kids, drinking, drugs, and so on and so forth. And I've been working with the inspector, our sector inspector, Greg Hodgkiss, in securing some funding for some overtime. So hopefully there will be some extra resilience that isn't taken away from our response teams who are out there. Obviously often get, well, when I covered a response shift, I was down in Par. So yeah, go figure that one out. There's lots of good stuff that's going on in town. It's been a pleasure to be here for the last 12 months. We keep chipping away at the crime. It is a bit of a, knock them down here and they'll pop up there, but we try and manage that, and we are making good ground. So yeah, bear with us. It's a process, as with everything. We are stuck in that process as well, but yeah, we'll keep chipping away. So if anyone's got any questions.
Thank you. Councillor, do you have any questions? Councillor Cole.
Bude's always been a bit of a drugs centre, I think it's fair to say, and there's always been some colourful local characters involved in that. But I'm sort of way away from youth culture at the moment, but I do live with 4 teenage boys, and I am informed that there is a lot of cocaine in view, which there never used to be. And I'm also informed that it is no longer the local people that are dealing, out of flats down at what used to be Saratoga, down at the bottom of Flexbury, but it is county lines, full nasty bad boys.
I can't obviously go into detail because we are developing the intelligence picture around the drug scene in Bude. But as I said, I'm pretty confident at the moment we've got a relatively good understanding of what's going on. We don't always have all of the dots joined, but we are certainly in a better place now than we were 12 months ago. And I can only hope that 12 months from now we'll be in an even better place, that it is just chipping away and it's just having somebody like myself who's a bit tenacious, who doesn't want it to be going on and is willing to sort of put the time and efforts into it. And we're getting there, but it is slow. And I can't at the moment give you too much more information, but when we're out the other side, hopefully this time next year, I'll be able to come back with some more positive news. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, it's a problem, but we're dealing with it, we're trying to.
Thank you. Councillor,
is this more of a society problem than a policing problem, really?
Yeah, absolutely. There was towns when I was growing up where it wasn't an issue, and we've migrated from heroin to cocaine to crack to legal highs back to cocaine, and there's always going to be new trends. There's always going to be new drugs. And I know, probably when a lot of this room were much younger, it was LSD, all that kind of thing. Cannabis was new, so it's always going to be a migration of drug. And that's human nature to experiment. So we're always going to have that. It's just how we try and contain it and manage it and keep people safe in the meantime.
So as long as there's demand, there will be somebody supplying.
As long as there's humans, there'll be drugs. Yeah, if it's not alcohol, it'll be something. There'll always be something. I can't. That's the way of the world, unfortunately.
any other questions for councillors?
Yeah, just one other thing. I've noticed there's quite a bit of tagging going on again now through the town.
Okay.
Are you aware of that?
I haven't been made
Especially
aware
down
of it,
the breakwater down that way. Perhaps if I can catch up with you at some stage and take a photo of it, there must be a way of identifying these individual people.
no. Yeah, absolutely. I did, when I was neighbour beat manager in Bude, actually, I did catch the tagger red-handed. So
Right.
if you can give me a bit more
Okay.
around it, when, where, when they're popping up and all that kind of stuff, I'll see what I can do.
Cool.
I won't make any promises, but I'll do
No,
my best.
okay, thank you.
Survived!
Thank you very much. Okay,
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, can I just comment on something that Nina mentioned? In regards to resource, that's something that came out of the liaison meeting, which is good. Maybe a good thing or a bad thing, but Nikki and myself are on the Devon and Cornwall Crime Police panel. So I take on board what you said, sir, and Nikki and I will be trying our best to get as much resource into this part of the county.
Thank you very much. We now move on to item 7, which is the minutes. So 7A, full council to approve the minutes of the meeting held on 4th of July 2024. Comments on that? Okay, I'm going to have a proposer. Thank you, and second. All those in favour? Okay, all those against? All those abstain? Right, 7B, committees to receive and note the minutes of the meetings listed below. First, number 1, planning committees, both on the 3rd and the 17th of July. I hope all councillors had a chance to read it. Okay, proposed accept, do I have a seconder? Thank you. And all those in favour? That's unanimous. Okay. Oh, Sorry, no?
I'll abstain.
You abstain. I oppose. Oh, two abstains. I oppose. Three abstains. I'm a bit confused. Sorry. Okay. Number two, Facilities and Environmental Services Committee, 11th of July, 2024. Kevin Ward. And all those in favour? And that is unanimous. Okay. No,
No.
oh,
Sorry, you're right on my notes.
Item 3, Corporate and Democratic Services Committee, 18th of July, 2024. Do they have a proposer? Then I will propose. Do we have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor O'Sullivan. All those in favour? Have you got all those? All those against? Those abstaining. And finally, Cultural and Heritage Services Committee, 18th of July, 2024. 25th. Sorry, 25th of July, I apologise, 2024. Proposer. Yeah, the seconder. All those in favour? Those against? Those abstaining. Okay, 7C. We now deal with the recommendations coming out of some of these committees. Recommendation CD 08224 to adopt the notice board policy. I hope council have a chance to see this. Are there any comments on this? Do I have a proposer? Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? All those abstaining? CD 08324 to adopt the procurement policy. Do I have any comments on this?
I have a comment. The amendment suggested by Councillor Douglas has been added to the procurement policy regarding the environmental policy and where it overlaps.
Do I have a proposal? Thank you. Second? Thank you. All those in favour? All those against? All those abstaining? CH 03624 to carry out the repairs to the library doors. Hopefully you've all seen some detail of this. Welcome comments. Okay.
There was a little bit of debate on this as to where it should sit and which budget it should come out of. Having been discussed at F&E, it then went to CNH, and Mark rather magnanimously agreed that it should come out of the council maintenance budget, with a caveat that if anything were to be required in the council unforeseen, that we would then backfill that budget from reserves. Now, I thought that was a reasonable compromise to get the job done. I think the actual quote for the job is very reasonable, and certainly something that we need to proceed with on a matter of health and safety, and indeed looking after our staff. But moving forward, these issues are going to arise again, and I think we, as a council, have to look at where budgets sit, and if all maintenance is going to sit within F&E, I'm comfortable with that, it's up to me, but there needs to be a budget line that we can draw against. I'm uncomfortable spending money without budget lines to draw against. So that's it. That's the only point I would make.
Yeah, can I add to this? Part of the issue with this is the fact that I believe when the budget was set, before I took on CNH, the library was not given like a maintenance budget. There was nothing set aside for any maintenance towards the library. And it seems a bit unfair for maintenance issues to be coming out of what is the cultural and heritage budget, because cultural and heritage has now acquired a lot of the stuff to do with the park house. So does that mean then that park house maintenance will be expected to come out of cultural and heritage? As Councillor Colwell has said, this needs to be looked at better, because where is the money going to come from? What relationships do our managers have? Do we see like what goes on in the castle as like you could say the tenant's business, and the fabric of the building is like the landlord's business? It's those sorts of issues that need looking at. I understand from Councillor Moore that in the past, with the previous council, that there was a maintenance budget set aside that covered the council buildings, and that each building was then allowed to carry on running, so you did have almost like a tenant and a landlord situation. And the reason I'm raising this, coming in on what Councillor Colwell has said, is that the lift at the castle is giving issues. It has been agreed at the moment that we will pay to fix it when it goes wrong, and it is going wrong more and more often. But at some point, it is going to become a necessity that that lift is replaced. Because if you think about it, what happens to a disabled person if the lift goes wrong and they're stuck upstairs?
Yep.
That is one of the big issues that could.
It is one of the wider issues, of course.
Yeah, and I think the cost of replacing the lift in the castle, was I right, Mr. Sultan, somewhere about £30,000.
It's something that this council really does have to get its head around. Of course, at this point,
it
we're
needs,
focusing on these doors, but yes, you make a very good point. Yes.
There's a line in the reserves budget, which is maintenance and enhancement all areas, which has got £157,629. And my understanding was that that £157,629 was used for maintenance across all areas.
Right.
There were small budget lines actually in the CNH budget and EF&E budget for some kind of minor repairs, but major repairs would come from that budget. So I don't think there's a problem with money. There's plenty of money in there. There's plenty of money for the lift. There's plenty of money for the doors.
Right.
So it's just a question of what we're spending it on.
Right. Okay. I think you wanted to say something, Parker, did you? Were you looking at me saying, no, I didn't? I don't want to wade into this one.
It's always best if I say as little as possible.
Okay. Back to.
yeah, I just would have thought an enhancement budget would have been enhancing, not replacing. That's just the way I would look at it.
Which is called maintenance enhancement.
Yeah, but when you put enhancement in there, it tends to suggest going a step beyond and making it even better and enhancing the facilities, not just repairing, replacing.
Okay.
That's just my interpretation.
I think you make a very good point, and I do agree with you that we need to get our heads around how we spend money and what we take from and what we can and cannot do, and I think we do need to do that. But the item on the agenda is specifically to carry out repairs to the library doors. So does anybody have anything specific to say about that? Okay, can I have a proposal? Can I have a, thank you, can I have a second? Brilliant, thank you very much. All those in favour? All those against? All those abstain? Okay, thank you very much.
I think that's my cue to
Oh, that's
stay
okay.
dry. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, bye now.
Okay, item 8, to reappoint the, this town clerk will explain to us in a bit more detail, but I will read this out and then I will hand over the technicalities to you. To reappoint the internal auditor for the financial year 2024-25, Paul Russell, and on behalf of the parish and town audit services, and to consider the independence of this appointment and confirm satisfaction of this competence. Over to you.
Thank you, Rick. I'll try and keep this as brief as I can. So, and I'm sure the RFO will correct me if I go wrong. Our external auditor has requested that we do one or two things that we've not done previously when reporting back. One of these is to produce a minute that says this. And the intention of this minute is if anybody's related to Paul Russell in any strict way, or anyone has any doubts about the competence of the appointment, we need to demonstrate that we've given an opportunity for people to say that. So really it's a box ticking exercise. It's not something we've been asked to do before, so we weren't anticipating this. But if we have this now, we can submit it for the next external audit. So it's housekeeping, effectively.
So,
Can I ask, does the town clerk recommend that we reappoint Mr. Auditor? And
The RFO is saying yes, so I'm saying yes.
Okay, that's good.
any questions? Thank you. Second. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Right, item 9 is to note the quarter budget. We have RFO here, so we have hopefully have the quarter 1 budget value to look at. Are there any questions that Councillor Fitzpatrick?
Just a general question, would you say that we are under budget, over budget, or on budget?
I'd say we're on budget. So the top sheet, so we're actually, so the actual today, so we're under budget by 245. Taking into account the precept, which is roughly about 300,000. So we're on top with the return.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Any other questions? So, you have to propose that you note this?
That is it. Yes.
So we simply note.
We just note it. We don't need a vote to agree.
No, so we simply note. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right, therefore, on to item 10, which follows on from this, to agree movement of reserves. So I'm going to ask the RFO to explain why this is on the agenda for hope.
It's just movements. So we've had the invoices in for the group, which was agreed to come out of reserves. So we've had those in just to move those over to budget. There's some work being done on the old schoolhouse, which obviously we can take from the sale money. There's also some sale money that we've received, which are actually put into the reserves. And the only other thing is the Heritage Legacy, which is just the spend to date.
Okay, do the councillors have any questions on this? In which case, can I ask the people to propose that you agree this move? Can I have a second? All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, item 11, hopefully you've seen this, to Resolved to proceed with the CCTV upgrade for Bude Library. We have two quotes of this, but I won't read the quotes, but I will read the overview and the detail, just so I think it's clear. The library CCTV system needs to be replaced with a new HD system to propose. All quotes have been sought, we've only had 2 responses that we received by providers. Councils are asked to approve a quote and budget to enable the upgrade. The closed circuit television Bude Library needs to be replaced with a new high definition system which provides a sufficiently clear image to allow for identification. The issue was brought before the Facilities and Environment Services Committee on the 11th of July. The committee resolved to proceed with the CCTV upgrade for the library and requested that the facilities manager gain 3 quotations. The issue has to be brought back to full council, was to be brought back to full council in August, so therefore it has been brought back to full council in August. So, comments? Queries? Councillor Blue.
So propose we set option 1 and then find the 768 from the maintenance and enhancement.
Okay. Do I have a second?
No, I was going to ask a question.
Okay.
Am I right in understanding that the maintenance and enhancement budget is Steve's budget for all facilities?
Okay. So, does anybody else wish to ask a question before I ask if there is a seconder to Councillor Blue's proposal? Are you
Seconding.
You're seconding. Thank you, Councillor Tate. Okay. All those in favour? Yes. All those against? All those abstaining? It was actually unanimous. That was the first vote, wasn't it? Just to be sure.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. The questions from the it's fine. Right, okay, on to a bit of housekeeping here. To approve the finance reports. A, schedule of payments made between 19th of July 2024 to the 1st of August 2024. Do we have any questions about that? Could I have a proposer? Thank you. Could I have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? That is unanimous. B, schedule of payment to be made on 2nd of August 2024. Any questions about those? Do I have a proposer?
Opposed.
Thank you. Seconder? Thank you. And all those in favour? That is unanimous. Okay. I now have to inform you that you should disregard C. It was left on from a previous thing, and please disregard C. Looking forward to C. Okay. Right. Okay. Item 13, to approve a letter of support for the Stratton School Community Hub SIL application. If you go with me, I will read it out as quickly as possible. Dear Mr. Glasby, Mrs. Glasby, thank you. Bude-Stratton Town Council wishes to extend its full support for the Stratton School Community Hub. It recognises the pressing need for adequate space to aid the creative development of children in our parish. The proposed hub will provide function space with kitchen and toilet facilities to benefit local preschool children, disability groups and youth organisations. We are acutely aware of the social and economic issues which impact people's lives in our parish, with nearly 2/3 of the Bude area population classed amongst the 20% most deprived in the country with regard to access to housing and the availability to key services. Well, Bude's Community and Wellbeing Plan 2021, that's where the reference is from. These issues particularly impact our young people, with more than 1/3 of all children in North Cornwall living in poverty once housing costs are taken into consideration. In April 2022, it was reported that the parishes surrounding Bude had the highest levels of child poverty of any rural area of Cornwall, and that was on Cornwall by 12th of April 2022. The creation of a community hub will help to address the provision of services in our parish and deliver an amenity open to local parents and their children outside of school hours and during school hours by arrangement. The facility will also complement the adjacent community cycling track, which has proved so popular. The Town Council wishes Stratton Town Primary every success with its Stage 2 application of the Community Infrastructure Levy Fund, obviously, signed by our acting town clerk. So this is a letter in support, which is part of the process of their application for these monies. Essentially. Is that right, town clerk?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Spot on. So, Councillor O'Sullivan.
Well, as a town councillor for the Stratton ward, you'd be surprised to hear that I'm fully supportive of this. I did just want to ask, just as a matter of interest, how much are they applying for? Do you know?
From the top of my head, I don't know. I know that I think, they've done some planning some time ago when I was involved, before I took up this noble occupation. And it may have changed since then, so I don't want to tell you something that may not be accurate, but I will let you know.
I presume they've got support from the Common Council. Have you got
Councillor O'Sullivan, yes, I've supported it. The design you were referring to earlier, myself and Scott Mann visited the site. They gave us messages of where we had done the scheme. I don't know if they're still involved in it, but they gave us a full presentation. And at that stage, we said, yeah, we're going to support it. And that's how they managed to get to this level where they can make this still application. So yes, they've got my support. And I'm glad you're doing the same job.
Absolutely.
Anybody else wish to ask any questions about this? Okay, I need a proposer. I need a second. Yeah. All those in favour? Thank you so much. That was certainly unanimous. Right. Item 14 is, all we're required to do is to note item 14. So I wish to draw your attention to the consultation regarding the forest proposal planting in view. Are there any councillors that wish to say anything about this? No? Oh, yeah, there is.
Yeah, so I was just going to I just wanted to say that this is a proposal to put 26 trees in Haynes Close and Woodfield Road.
Yeah.
And I very much support it, obviously, but if you do the consultation, there is an opportunity for you to suggest if you feel that any other tree planting would be useful as well. And Bude has got a good kind of relationship with Forest of Cornwall. We've done quite a lot of tree planting at Berries Avenue and in the Vancouver Play Park based on trees that they've donated to us. So I'd really urge you to fill it in and think about where we can have some more trees in Bude, because we are very, very tree depleted.
Thank you. Okay, so we note that. We move on to item 15, and it wouldn't be a town council meeting if we didn't have something to do with a planning request. So, I will read this out to you. So the item number says, to consider a request for the Allied flag to be flown and agree any associated actions. Now, I will simply read this out as it comes, and then we'll see what it status. A request has been received for the Allied flag to be flown during Pride Month 2025. This is the detail. The Allied flag represents heterosexual people who support the LGBTQ+ community. A request has been received for the flag to be flown concurrently with the Pride flag and the Pride Progress flag during Pride Month in 2025. The person making the request believes it is important that the Town Council celebrates diversity as long as it is not at the expense of inclusion. They feel that the Allied flag will let the heterosexual community know they are equally valued and respected. They have provided the flag themselves. The Allied flag is a Category C flag, which would require planning consent to be flown. The person making the request has been made aware that they must meet the cost of applying for planning consent if the Town Council resolves to fly the flag. The Council has three options, we believe, in front of us. To resolve to fly the flag, the requestee to meet the cost of planning consent, or the Council requests the flag to be flown and the Town Council meet the cost of securing the planning consent, or to resolve not to fly the flag. Okay.
I am not a great expert in the minutiae of the divisions within, for want of a better word, the project. But my understanding is that the progress flag, the flag we already have planning permission for, and we already do fly from the Castle Mound, basically covers everything. And within that, it does cover the heterosexual allies of the broader Pride movement. I believe, and I'm fully prepared to stand corrected on this, that the ally flag is normally associated with Pride marches and Pride events. So where a number of people that represent different diverse groups that are under the Pride umbrella will march together, then it is appropriate to fly the Allied flag because there are other groups under that broader umbrella that will be flying their individual flags. But outside of Pride marches and Pride events, it isn't something that, as I understand it, is normally flown because the Progress flag and before that the Rainbow flag was seen as a more inclusive thing. So to fly this particular flag would be, I think, a rather odd thing to do when we're already flying the Progress flag. It's a sort of, me too. Well, actually, I support Pride, but I'm straight. You know, I like ladies. You know, well, I don't need to say that. I can just fly the Pride flag and wear a multicolored bow tie and a kilt on occasions, and I don't need the caveat of actually I'm straight, really. You know. So I would be in favour on this occasion of a polite decline to fly this particular flag on this particular, for the whole of the month.
Vicky. I would just say with this, that the last flag request, the St George's flag was passed to the Cultural and Heritage Committee because it's part of the culture and heritage, etc. And the decision was that it would be flying on the castle flagpole. So I rather feel that this request as well ought to go to the Cultural and Heritage Committee, because the likelihood is, if the request is granted, if it goes ahead, etc., it will be the castle flagpole it will be flown from.
Interesting. If I may, were that to be the outcome of this particular decision, that wouldn't leave us with any flagpole on which to fly the Pride Progress flag. The only flagpole that we have planned to fly that on is the castle flagpole.
We need a flagpole.
Yeah, I feel really uncomfortable with this, like, just being honest. I want to echo what Kevin said, that if you're a true ally, you can fly the Pride flag, whichever version you feel comfortable with, and know that that comes with all of the kind of personal cost and inconvenience that is standing up for a marginalised group, umbrella group of people. I also think it's really important that during a time when it's specifically, like Pride Month is specifically a celebration of marginalised identities, that we're not centering non-marginalised identities within that celebration. Especially this most recent Pride Month, which obviously we had the flags that we have legal like precedent to fly being taken down repeatedly. So we're not at a place where, you know, yeah, when basically I just think it's really important that we continue to support those marginalised communities in that celebration of love, inclusion and survival, because that's what it is for a lot of people. Like the Olympics are on at the moment, and there are still 64 countries that criminalise being LGBTQ+. Some of those countries still have the death penalty. Some of the Olympic athletes can't be out in their country of origin. And yeah, I feel like it's really poignant that we remember that we need to be standing in solidarity with marginalised people unconditionally, no matter what the cost is for us, whether we are queer or straight or anything. So yeah, that's my view. Thank you.
Councillor Blue.
Pretty much going to say, well, Sean said a lot better than I would have. I was just basically, if you're an ally, just accept and appreciate and fly the pride flag. You don't need your own flag. Just to kind of like Kevin said, just to kind of, hey, I'm not. It's fine. And it's a concise kind of flag. We don't need anything else up there sullying it or muddying the waters, really. So I'd like to propose that we politely decline, as Kevin puts it well.
So we have a proposal, but Councillor Scott would like to say something.
Well, I'm detecting a worrying outbreak of unanimity. I agree with everything that's been said. I'm happy to second the proposal.
Okay, so we have a proposal second before I go to that. Does anybody else wish to say anything? So we have a proposal to resolve not to fly the flag. All those in favour of that proposal? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Okay, item 16. To hopefully elect members to the following committees. Now, the Planning Committee has 4 vacancies. Now, I have to say to you, I popped into Planning Committee yesterday, and it was fascinating to see people who are experts, all beginning from slightly different positions. And I rocked on up with a whole point of view from stuff that I'd read. But once I came into that meeting, particularly with the contribution of the public and looking at things from a different angle, I became aware of all sorts of complexities that weren't evident to me in the 44 documents of one particular thing. And I thought during that time, what crucial work was being done in this planning committee, and how collegiate the planning committee actually was, where people could have differences of opinion, but come to a kind of agreed position. And it was a very pleasant committee meeting. So I do recommend, I cannot attend this committee meeting because it is during my working time. But I do recommend that councillors give it a go. Are there any councillors that are interested? Wonderful sales pitch. I'm doing my best.
Things are getting even more worrying.
I'll do my best. Are there any councillors at this meeting at present who would like to put themselves forward to be elected to the planning committee?
We have fun. I think all we had was 44 documents.
This was a one-off, can I say?
Yeah, I know, you don't believe me.
Yeah. Can I say to you, if we were a parish council, we would be discussing these things every week. Every month, every full council. And planning committee does a really valuable act of having people who are really knowledgeable about planning discussing it there, so that we don't have to discuss it here. It would take us a long time to do some of these things. And it is a shame, and that unfortunately nobody is able to put themselves forward.
Yeah, I've mentioned this before. I just wonder whether a change of time might will suit yourself.
Yeah.
And
so I would be interested in that.
Because I have made the point before that I know the previous council they were 9 o'clock in the morning, and then we moved it for 3. But it was to so that it would be during working hours to facilitate developers and agents and whatever. But the point I have made before is that it should be about facilitating councillors considering the planning applications more than if, and as you know, agents and developers come along to parish council meetings, which generally are 7 or 7:30.
Yeah.
So if a change of time would facilitate, I'd be very keen for that to.
I think perhaps this is something that we could discuss on the agenda at our next council meeting. Clark, because I have a sense that I really value this committee, and I do agree with you. I think we might have more people coming forward if we've got to try and get people. I now move on to the Culture and Heritage Committee, which there is one vacancy.
We sit in much more.
Absolutely.
I was just going to go there. I did visit that meeting, and it is a wonderful environment.
And you have the misfortune to come on a week when unfortunately they were changing exhibitions.
It is a really nice room. It is a room that we may consider in future for a meeting of ourselves at some point. There are particular technical issues with lack of internet at the moment and other things.
But then that can be beneficial because people are forced to focus on the matter in hand.
But yes, you're sitting in a space that is directly affected with what you're talking about. Tom?
I think it would be outside of the normal opening hours of the castle, so it would cause difficulty. I would just like to point out that there was 5 members, if I'm right, all of the planning committee at yesterday's meeting. There was only 4 members, even though you've got less vacancies. There was only 4 members at your last meeting, and there was 2 non-members. So
is this a kind of comment?
We have this.
Yeah, okay.
Have you noted that in the minutes?
Is there anybody that would like to put themselves forward to join the culture? I would if I could. Yeah. We will roll it over to the next one then. Do we apparently need some people in some lead council roles?
Transport and which I think are the roles previously held by former council. Right, which we will get back.
So, can you just say that nicely?
Yeah, so there is a vacancy in for a lead councillor for transport and a co-lead councillor for economic development. I understand, as the 2 functions formerly carried out by former councillor Hill. If anyone has any particular
interested in those. Okay, we shall roll that over to the next one. So, right, okay. To receive any updates from the councillors, I would like to start from giving a little bit of an update for the town team, if that would be appropriate. And so I shall just find I've got that. Very quickly, I attended, I and Councillor Dorr attended a town team meeting on the 17th of July 2024. After this was a significant meeting, there were lots of new people there. We introduced ourselves and we shared really a wide-ranging experience and backgrounds of different team members. And then we turned to the following items. After discussion and recognition of how BSTC and town team had worked together towards creating town teams in terms of preference, they were unanimously approved and adopted. This now gives town team the ability to start to actively pursue their identified projects. Consequently, we considered Project 1. For this, we explored plans for a Bude creative and digital hub as recommended in the Bude Town Team Vision and Investment Plan. And this has been further developed into a proposal which was circulated prior to the meeting. Andrew Finlay and Tim Bradshaw of Oxford Innovation have undertaken some preliminary work setting out the concept for the hub. This will inform a brief for commissioning a feasibility study paid for with the remainder of the town accelerator funding due to receive by BSTC. Therefore, we unanimously agreed the next steps towards such a feasibility study, that BSTC moves with all speed to begin preparing the tender process for the contract to produce a feasibility study for the creative and digital hub. After that, we tentatively further explore what the creative and digital hub might seek to achieve. And finally, we also consider the aims of North Cornwall Community Land Trust and how there may be potentially some synergy with this project. This is something we in North Cornwall Community Land Trust may wish to explore further as the project develops. So it's his first steps and tentatively exploring possible future avenues. But that was essentially the content of our town meeting. Any queries? Yes, sir.
When we were talking about the constitution, we spoke about Cornwall Council having a workshop with our own town team and other town teams to try and sort of understand what might be the best kind of structure for a town team. Has that meeting gone ahead or?
No, it's not gone ahead at all. I don't think we've heard anything.
I've chased it. It was the ball was in their court in terms of telling us when that would be held.
I think it would be useful because another thing that you said was that the STC is now going to be producing the tender document for the. So I don't know. That feels. I'm struggling to kind of remember it all, but that feels to me that that's a piece of work that's now come to the town council, which if the town team was differently structured, they might have resources to do that themselves. And we know that our staff are up to the gunnels anyway without taking on work from the town team.
If I can address that one, I think on this occasion and only on this occasion, we as the town council would have to prepare the tender because only the town council can hold that accelerator money. So for any other project that the town team is seeking to get off the ground, that wouldn't fall on us as staff here to do the tender process, but they can't hold that money. We're the only people that can hold it. So it's a bit like the previous with the LEC.
I mean, I recognise that we hold the money, but that doesn't mean that we have to do the legwork to produce the tender. That somebody else could be doing that and submitting it to us and saying this is the kind of thing. But I'm assuming that's not going to happen and it's going to fall on your shoulders.
Potentially, yes.
We are, of course, discovering, this is early days. I mean, this is project one, feasibility study. So we are in the early days of discovering how to do this, and you're quite right. We do need to have that workshop, and councils really do need to be involved in that workshop so that we can see what has been done in other places, the problems encountered, and possible solutions.
I would say that though, it sounds great. Creative hub and creative hub very much needed. I'm not trying to throw any shade on.
Any other queries on that? Okay, do we have any reports from other league councillors?
I'm sorry to keep bleating on about this, but I'm going to anyway. On Saturday, we've got the Summer of Royal Beer Festival. As I think I've probably mentioned before, I got involved in the conversation with the NHS, and they are putting on 8 across Cornwall, and I bagged Bude. They were offering a sum of money to put it on, and so I've been using my day job, don't tell my boss, to organise this, and it has been complete madness. So on Saturday we've booked out the complete Parkhouse Centre, and we have filled the whole Parkhouse Centre, and if you can, please pass it on to everyone. Not only have we got the NHS coming, but they will be also asking for your comments on the NHS services locally. We have to do this. They're fed up with my face, and I know it's one thing me collecting things and collecting it to them, which I do constantly, but I would appreciate it if people would make the effort to come in and tell them themselves, because it's not just me going on about it. Not only that, there is so much for kids there. I've managed to book Magic Martin. We've got a juggling scarves workshop. There's going to be free face painting and free mini beauty treatments. There's loads of arts. There's folk art. Someone doing that. We've got so much stuff. And I will be quick, but just go on, like diabetes prevention. We've got someone from Reiki. We've got Holsby Rural Transport coming. What else we've got long-term health condition, people are coming, we've got the tri-service going to be there. Bude police were a bit of an odd one. When I asked them if they'd like to come, they told me if we had a problem to ring 999. I did email them back, but I didn't get a response. I don't know why. I did say that wasn't quite what I meant. But so there's going to be selling stuff. We've got a lovely author coming. There's going to be tarot reading. It could only be me, couldn't it, really? To get something like that.
We're doing tarot reading.
No, not me. No, I would be terrible.
The lady who does the castle.
I don't know, Joanna Jackson. She's an author as well.
Yes.
She's my friend's aunt, so cheating really. So yeah, please, if you can just spread the word. I'd really appreciate it to people that aren't on Facebook. We have put some posters around, but the NHS being the NHS, I asked them last week for the adverts and they said, could they drop them off this Friday? So I went and got some printed. They haven't been overly helpful, some of them, but it should be a really good day. And again, please pass it on to everyone to just come and have a look. And I'll be quiet.
And you've also got a local MP position as well.
Yeah, sorry, we haven't got someone very special, obviously opening it as well.
Don't know.
I got quite some ribbon due to cut as well on the day.
Oh.
And yeah, the MP, Ben Maguire, is coming. Luckily, Nikki Chopak managed to lynch him for that, so he's going to be there. And I have organised for him to have a beauty treatment, but he doesn't know that yet. Hopefully he'll enjoy it. So, but yeah, please come along.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Okay.
With the armed forces hat on, I believe you described the meeting earlier perfectly. I will just add to that that Tony Gibbs has sent on to me today, which I believe you've seen as well, that Berries Community Cafe next Thursday, they are Kerno, military veterans group, are having a brew and banter section, basically. We as Bude-Stratton Town Council have been asked to share it, which I believe is going out on the comms, etc. So that's going on, and I believe that I have things all in place for road closures, for remembrance, etc. So, yeah.
Yes, because you have to move on that because there's a 12-week notice and I
Yeah.
So we moved on that.
Yes, we were a little bit gleeful last year on the triangle. No, public spirited people.
Publicly spirited people just stop going. Yeah, quite right. Yes, sir.
Can I give an update on BCP?
Please do.
There's been a...
Best to refer to the clerk.
That's all right. There's been a lot of stuff that's been going on about recruiting a new chair and so on, which has been very positive, and we've had some governance work being done. But the thing I wanted to talk about was the sustainable tourism project. And we did send around something called People to Look At. We've had an evaluation of the sustainable tourism project for its first year. And I know that people feel that it's sometimes quite difficult to understand what the kind of partnership is doing in kind of practical terms, really. But I think the sustainable tourism project is a really strong example of what is actually going on. They've got 3 objectives, which is tourism in Bude is carbon neutral by 2030. That we recognise as the leading sustainable tourism destination in the region, nationally and beyond, and that we're an exemplar project for other coastal areas seeking more sustainable development path. And in year 1 of the project, they've already developed the Bude Way branding, which you might see a bit of. They've created a full database of tourism businesses in the Bude CNA. They've carried out, they've developed some carbon literacy training, which they've started delivering, and a carbon calculator for tourism businesses. They've refreshed the Visit Bude website and added a sustainability portal. They've recruited 6 champion businesses, 40 pioneer businesses and 14 starter businesses. They've developed a green leaf accreditation system, which is a food-focused accreditation system, and they've managed to launch that. And they've hosted a field trip at the University of Exeter, sustainable tourism MSc students. And those students are now going to be reporting back and helping them to develop the next parts of the project. So all I would say that in terms of, the private partnership, the sustainable tourism project, I think is something that we should be looking at and broadening. They're doing an awful lot of work. I did have a question, which was, you may have seen the bodyboards campaign that they're currently running to try to stop the sale of these.
That's not like everyone Morrison's the whole of the way outside of the plastic bodyboards.
So the question really was, will the STC support that? We provide a letter of support. I don't know how to kind of move that forward, whether we can do that outside of the OSCE, because it is summer at the moment. It feels to me that the time is now really to decide whether we want to write a letter of support or not. Can I do something like that, or shall I just leave that there on the table? I don't know.
Philippa was talking about the potential for Bude-Stratton Town Council to write a letter of support. Can you just repeat it?
Well,
I did, sorry, I was conferring with my colleague, but no, I did hear, and I think that's very good. I think obviously that's added to by the fact that we take this to be in the minutes, previous committee, that we'll be making the beach office available for the storage piece for collection, take a central point. So we are helping in many ways. So yes, and that could be linked to the letter.
Yeah, so if we could agree that we would send a letter to the sustainable tourism team supporting the bodyboards campaign. With that.
Yes.
And I suppose we'll put
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll miss the summer.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I just wondered about the bodyboard thing. I thought that was part of the 2 Minute Foundation. They used to collect the bodyboards in and were already doing this. So are you already, just covering something that's already been done?
Well, the Sustainable Tourism Project is working with the 2 Minute Foundation. The 2 Minute Foundation is one of the partners of the private partnership. So all the dots are joined,
Well, so you're just remarketing something?
It hasn't worked as yet, has it?
It's
still selling them, so. Yeah.
Well, stopping selling them, I understand, but it was the collection of and taking them from the beach.
I think there's the two aspects.
Yeah, the 2 Minute Foundation are more picking them up off the beach, and what's coming out through sustainable tourism is more stopping or putting pressure to stop the sale in the first place. So
that's an individual.
Well, you can put pressure in a number of ways, can't you? I mean, if you draw somebody's attention to the fact that they're selling products that's going to fall to pieces in 5 minutes and then live to the beach, and they say, "Sod you, I'm going to still sell them," at least you draw their attention. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin. Sorry, you
Yeah, as part of the sustainable tourism project with our holiday let, with the bodyboards things, it's very much like trying to get the emphasis over to your visitors to hire from, say, like Zuma J's, rather than buy from Morrison's.
Yeah.
It's very much trying to get that message in before the visitor even hits Morrison's.
Yeah.
And places like Bude,
because that's the first place they go, isn't it?
yeah, places like Bude have bodyboards and things that you can borrow, and a lot of other places are starting to do things like this. We have in our holiday let one of the polystyrene ones, and on it, these boards will break at your first try. Higher, and I've just got to give the Zuma J on there. And we have yet to see, since that's been in the holiday let, anybody bring a polystyrene bodyboard back, or they've broken them on the beach.
That's not on the agenda, though, is it?
No, I think it's something that you can do anyway.
So it's not something you need to go to a vote for or whatever.
We're lead partners.
So it would be the natural outcome.
I think that's okay. Unless there's any great objection. I think also I should add, I may be wrong in saying, but I think the collection of the body boards is being extended to beaches where that previously wasn't the case. My understanding is it's from Blackrock right the way up to Sandymouth now, whereas I think it was just the town beaches before. So it's become a slightly bigger scheme.
Any other lead councillors? Oh, sorry, any other questions on that? Sorry. Any other lead councillors? Okay, right. Item 18, to receive any correspondence from the clerk.
Thank you. Sorry to harp on about this again, but next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, you're welcome to come meet with our MP here in the conference room. If you're available, I appreciate it's holiday and people have children, and it's also in the day, but if you are available, we'll put some biscuits on it or something. No problem. No problem. 1 o'clock.
Whoever budget
Are members of the public?
Sorry?
Are members of the public welcome to?
No, in fairness, I haven't said that to the MP, so that would be somewhat unfair. It's for me to councillors.
Have you finished?
I have, that's all the correspondence I have.
Okay, item 19, councillors, I have to apologise. There is a
No,
dreadful
I have to.
mistake on this agenda. You need to know that the date of the next meeting is not the 7th of September 2024, which actually is Saturday, and none of us are going for that. Saturday evening for council, great fun. It is actually the 5th of September. So please do know that. And on that nice note, I now bring this meeting to a close.